All right, 12:48 KMSD, final day of the State Legion Tournament. A couple of games to go. Mr. Chad Knowles on the call. Chad, take it away.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Yes, it is the fifth and final day here of the State Class B American Legion Baseball Tournament from the birthplace of American Legion Baseball, Milbank, South Dakota. This afternoon, we have two games on tap for you. This is Championship Tuesday, and your first matchup today is an elimination game. Parkston Post 194 against Dakota Valley Post number 319. Let's set your starting lineups. Actually, we're going to have the national anthem here, but let's start with the Dakota Valley team. They'll go this way. Grady Ramos leads off. Batting 2 is Noah Graham. Batting number 3 is Jack Weesey. Batting number 4 is Sterling Schaff. Batting number 5, Vincent Hoffman. Number 6, Tate Cornelson. Number 7, Jake Pick. Number 8, Will Schnabel. And number 9, Ethan Seaton. And they're coached by Caleb Deist and Stan Schaff. Now we are going to have the national anthem and the American Legion Creed. Again, Dakota Valley is your visitors on the scoreboard. Parkston is the home team on the scoreboard. So we are just going to keep it right here for the national anthem. Then we'll give you Parkston's lineup. And the second game of today will be the winner of this game against Del Rapids. So a lot of baseball left to play here yet on Championship Tuesday. All right, now it is time for the national anthem. So again, we're just going to keep it right here.
Colors are members of the Birch Miller Post 9 Color Guard from Milbank, South Dakota. Please remain standing at attention until the colors have been retired. Ladies and gentlemen, your national anthem.
The color guard is off the field. So let's continue here with your starting lineups here on Championship Tuesday for this game. Again, the winner of this game will get Del Rapids an hour after this one is over. So let's meet the home team on the scoreboard. Parkston Post 194. They'll lead off, and catching Caden Holzbauer, batting number 2. And on the mound this afternoon is Carter Summer. Batting number 3 is in right field, James Deckert. Batting in the cleanup spot to the third baseman, Tate Klum. Batting number 5 at first base, Cash Negebauer. Batting number 6 in center field, Coulter Kramer. Batting number 7 at shortstop, Mason Jervik. Batting number 8 at second base, Drew Braley. And batting number 9 in left field, Jax Kurtenbach. Parkston Post 194 reserves, Trey Betcher, Grady Bohr, Carson Bieber, and Wyatt Anderson. Parkston Post 194 is coached by TJ Schmidt, Ty Negebauer, Adam During, and Landon Sudbeck. Again, for Dakota Valley, post 319, the visitors on the scoreboard. I did give their lineup earlier, but let's give it again. And pitching and leading off is Grady Ramos. Batting number 2 at second base, Noah Graham. Batting number 3 at catching, Jack Weesey. Batting in the cleanup spot at first base, Sterling Schaff. Batting number 5 at third base, Vincent Hoffman. Batting number 7, Tate Cornelson at shortstop. Batting number 7 in center field, Jake Pick. Batting number 8 in right field, Will Schnabel. And batting number 9 in left field, Ethan Seaton. Dakota Valley has only one extra player today. He is number 4, Jack Jones. Caleb Deist is the coach, as well as Stan Schaff. So Parkston has taken the field here defensively. Let's set Parkston for you defensively while we have a chance. In left field is Jax Kurtenbach. In center is Coulter Kramer. And over in right is James Deckert. Around the infield for post 194, Tate Klum is at third. Mason Jervik is at short. Drew Braley is at second. Cash Negebauer over at first. Behind the dish is Caden Holzbauer. And pitching this afternoon is Carter Summer. So Dakota Valley, like we said, they will lead off with today's pitcher, Grady Ramos. And yesterday in the game against Del Rapids, which Dakota Valley won 14-8, Ramos was at bat 4 times. He had a couple of hits, 1 RBI, a base on balls, a walk, and no strikeouts. So he was at bat 4 times. He scored 4 times, 2 hits, 1 RBI, and a couple of walks, and no strikeouts. Again, you're in tune to State Class B American Legion Baseball, the final day, games number 14 and 15 here on tap this afternoon. Again, glad to have everybody along on KMSD, as well as our video and audio stream as well, bigstoneradio.com. So, pitch kind of gets away from the catcher in the warm-ups there, but Grady Ramos is getting set now, and number 22, left-handed batter, Grady Ramos. I should remind you, your umpiring crew here this afternoon for this game, behind home plate, Mike Sarda at first base, Doug Rusink at second base, Lloyd Jones, and at third base is Christian Christensen. All right, Grady Ramos in the batter's box. He takes a ball.
Now batting the pitcher number 22, Grady Ramos.
From right-handed pitcher Carter Summer. And here's the pitch. That's high. 2 balls and no strikes now to Carter Summer. First pitch here at 12:55 on your Tuesday afternoon. Here's the pitch. There's a swing and a miss by Ramos. 2 balls and 1 strike. And there's another strike right at the knees. So it evens up the count now from Carter Summer to Grady Ramos. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And here's the pitch to Ramos. That sails outside to fill up the count now. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Dakota Valley's leadoff hitter here in the top of the first inning. Here's the Summer pitch. There's a swing and a miss. Strikeout number 1 on the afternoon for Carter Summer, the right-hander from Parkston.
Number 16, Noah Graham.
Just to recap, Dakota Valley, they are the Region 3B champs. They lost to Parkston, so this is a rematch from Friday night. They lost 7-5 to Parkston. They beat Milbank 9-1 on Saturday. They beat Winter Colomb on Sunday 4-2. And Del Rapids, they won yesterday 14-8.
Number 84, Jack Weesey.
And there are, I don't know, I was looking down. There's 2 outs. Or no, there's Noah Graham is at first base. We'll find out how he got there. Jack Weesey now catching.
You're on time, you're late.
Number 84. There goes, oh, they got the runner picked off between first and second. Throw down to second. And that is in time. So getting picked off at second is Noah Graham. So now there are 2 outs. And a no ball, 1 strike count to Jack Weesey. Jack Weesey yesterday, 3 at-bats. Scored a couple of runs. He had a hit, he had an RBI and a walk, and also a strikeout. So that was the line yesterday for Jack Weesey, who's in the batter's box right now. Again, that 14-8 win last night over Del Rapids. And here's the 1-1. There's a hit into on the infield at second base, and gloving it out there is the second baseman Drew Braley. So Jack Weesey pops out to second base. That's 1/2 inning complete. Dakota Valley 0, Parkston coming to bat. We'll be back with more State American Legion Baseball in a minute on BigStoneRadio.com and KMSD. Back in 1 minute.
Milbank Legion Post 9 welcomes all teams and fans to the state tournament. Milbank is the birthplace of Legion Baseball, and they're honored to be able to host the event at the new ballpark. What started 100 years ago has grown to over 50 states and Canada, with over 3,500 teams participating. American Legion Baseball, giving players an opportunity to develop their skills, personal fitness, leadership qualities, and have more fun. Play ball.
Lewis Family Drug is your one-stop location. In addition to quality prescription and non-prescription drugs with free delivery, Lewis has a huge selection of everyday basics and name brands and specialty items, always at affordable prices. They carry seasonal items, fabrics, crafts, and groceries. Shopping at your local Lewis Drug is more simple and more rewarding than ever. Download the Lewis mobile app to add on-the-go convenience to your errands. Lewis Family Drug. Everyday savings close to home.
And let's set Dakota Valley, your Region 3B champs, like we said. Defensively in left field, Ethan Seaton. In center field is Jake Pick. Over in right is Will Schnabel. Around the infield, Vincent Hoffman at third, Tate Cornelson at short, Noah Graham at second, Sterling Schaff at first. Jack Weesey behind the plate catching, and on the bump is left-handed pitcher number 22, Grady Ramos. Parkston, to get to this point, they defeated this Dakota Valley team 7-5 on Friday night. They defeated SMFC 5-2. They lost to Del Rapids 9-8 in 9 innings on Sunday, and they defeated Groton 11-6 yesterday, as rallying for 5 runs in their last at bat was Parkston to defeat Groton 11-6 last night here, or yesterday afternoon here at the ballpark. You're in tune to Classic Hits 95.1 KMSD FM, 1510 AM, KMSD Milbank, South Dakota, and streaming audio and video, www.bigstoneradio.com. All right, Parkston will send up Caden Holzbauer now, the catcher. In yesterday's win against Groton, we'll see what Holzbauer did. Now, Holzbauer had 4 at-bats. He scored a couple of runs, had a hit, no RBIs, a walk, and a strikeout. Here's the pitch that's sailed into the air behind home plate, foul.
Foul of the game. That one's sponsored by Birch Post 9, Milbank, South Dakota.
So no balls and 2 strikes now to Caden Holzbauer. Carter Summer waits on deck for post 194. Here's the pitch. That is inside. That just about got Holzbauer that time, but he got out of the way. 1 ball and 2 strikes now to the Parkston catcher, number 1, Caden Holzbauer. Here's the 1-2. There's a hit into left center field. Under it out there, and making the catch is left fielder Ethan Seaton. So Caden Holzbauer flies out to the left fielder. And coming up next now is Carter Summer. Carter, 5 at-bats yesterday, 1 run, 3 hits, 3 RBIs, no walks and no strikeouts yesterday for the Parkston today starting pitcher. And there's a ball fired in that time to Summer. Here's the Ramos pitch. There's a pop fly out of play.
There goes an Ottertail Power Company.
So 1 ball and 1 strike now to Carter Summer. James Deckard waits on deck here for Parkston, post number 194. Again, they come in as Region 5B champs. Here's the pitch to Summer. That is low and inside. 2-1 now to Carter. Again, the winner of this game gets Del Rapids in the second championship game. Kind of technically this is Championship Tuesday, so I guess technically the next one is the championship game, but the game before the championship game, how about that? 2 balls and 1 strike now to Carter Summer. Kind of a cloudy, hazy day. We see a little sunshine out here at the ballpark. There's a strike at the knees. To fill up the count now, 3 balls and 2 strikes to Carter Summer. Here's the Ramos offering, and there's a hit into right field. That's where Will Schnabel is this afternoon, and he runs over to right center and gloves it. So nice play. That kind of got caught up in the wind. I have a wind on my phone here, 14 miles an hour, blowing up to about 20 miles an hour, thereabouts. Again, kind of a pretty good wind, kind of whipping around out here at the field. That's going to bring up James Deckard now for Parkston. Here's the Ramos pitch. That's on the ground to third, gobbled up by Vincent Hoffman. Over to first. The out is complete. James Deckard goes out, third to first. 1 inning complete. Championship Tuesday. Parkston post 194-0. Dakota Valley post 319-0. We'll be back with more baseball in 1 minute on KMSD and BigStoneRadio.com.
Looking to sell your home or lake place? First Choice Real Estate is here to help. Whether you're upsizing, downsizing, or simply looking for a fresh start, they want your listing. Their experienced team of agents are ready to go to work for you with proven marketing strategies and a local touch and the local knowledge you can trust. Contact First Choice Real Estate in Milbank today to list your property. Make First Choice Real Estate your first choice. Online at millbanksbest.com. Roy's Sports Shop in Watertown welcomes all teams and fans to town for the Legion Tournament. Roy's has been the sporting goods leader in this area for over 55 years. Uniforms, sports equipment for baseball, softball, hockey, and more. Plus, clothing and footwear, too. Get in the game. Get into Roy's Sports Shop on Highway 212 in Watertown, across from Watertown Ford. Shop weekdays 9 to 6, 10 to 3 on Saturday.
Welcome back to the birthplace of American Legion Baseball, Milbank, South Dakota, here in the northeast part of the state. Dakota Valley will send up 4, 5, and 6 in terms of batters. Sterling Schaff, Vincent Hoffman, and Tate Cornelson here in the top of the second inning against Parkston right-hander Carter Summer. Yesterday in the win against Del Rapids, Dakota Valley's Sterling Schaff, 3 at-bats, scored no runs, had 1 hit, 2 RBIs, 1 walk, and no strikeouts. Here's the pitch to the left-handed batter from Dakota Valley. He takes a ball, 2 balls and no strikes now to Sterling Schaff. Vincent Hoffman on deck here for Dakota Valley. There's the pitch. There's a hit the other way to the left. Sterling Schaff, 2 balls and 1 strike to the first baseman. He pitched in yesterday's game a little bit. And here's the pitch. There's a strike. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now count evens to Sterling Schaff. And here comes the Summer pitch. That is grounded out to Drew Braley at second, over to first. And they just get Schaff out at first base. That was kind of a slow 2-hopper for one thing, and then Braley kind of had a little trouble picking it up out there, but he recovered and threw over to first in time to get Sterling Schaff. That'll bring up Vincent Hoffman now. Vincent swings and misses. Vincent yesterday had 1 1 hit, 2 RBIs, a couple of walks, and a strikeout. Here's the pitch to Hoffman. That is low. 1 ball and 1 strike now to number 42, the third baseman, Vincent Hoffman, here for Dakota Valley. Post number 319. Here's the pitch. There's a swing and a miss. 1 ball and 2 strikes now. Carter Summer ahead of Vincent Hoffman. And here comes the Summer pitch. That is a little bit low and outside. Nice block behind the dish that time by Holzbauer. So 2 balls and 2 strikes to Vincent Hoffman. Here's the pitch. That is a called third strike. Strikeout number 2 by Carter Summer. That'll bring up now the shortstop. Number 7, Tate Cornelson. Tate yesterday had 1 hit, 1 RBI, a couple of walks, and a strikeout. He scored a run as well yesterday for Dakota Valley. Here's the pitch from Summer. That's a strike at the knees. A 1 strike count now to Tate Cornelson. And the 0-1, that is low. 1 ball and 1 strike. And there's another pitch that's in for a strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Cornelson. There's the pitch. There's a hit into right field. Getting under it out there and making the catch is James Deckert. So Tate Cornelson flies out to right. 3 up, 3 down here for Dakota Valley in the top of the 2nd inning. So after an inning and a half, it is Dakota Valley post 19-0, Parkston post 194-0. We'll be back with more from the State B Class American Legion Baseball Tournament in 1 minute on KMSD and BigStoneRadio.com.
Calling all anglers and adventurers. Discover the ultimate convenience store at Jurgen Sea Store in Wilmont. New to our lineup, live bait. That's right, we've got fresh minnows and wriggling worms to help you hook the big one. But wait, there's more. Our deli serves up savory burgers, mouth-watering Piccadilly pizza, snacks, cold beverages, and a whole lot of yum. And don't forget to top off your tank while you're here. Fill up your car, pickup, and boat with top-notch gas so you can hit the road or the water without missing a beat. For all your fishing and fueling needs, there's only one name to remember. Jurgen Sea Store in Wilmot. Another great Stills and Oil Company Sea Store. Let the adventure begin.
Hi, Darren Mertens here from Milbank Ford. We have a great new inventory on hand here, so come in, check them out, take a test drive. That's worked out a great deal. We also have a lot of very nice pre-owned units. If you are in the need of service, call in and talk to Gene, Ryan, and they will take care of all your maintenance and repair needs. 605-432-4525 or milbankford.net. Milbank Ford, West Highway 12 in Milbank.
And welcome into the broadcast here on a Tuesday afternoon. Yeah, we're on baseball here on Tuesday afternoon. That's because you're in tune to the Class B American Legion Baseball Tournament here between Parkston and Dakota Valley. Again, the winner of this one gets Del Rapids for the championship here for the 2025 season. Here's the pitch. That is high and inside to Tate Klum. Yesterday, Tate Klum had a hit, an RBI, a single, and a strikeout. Or a hit and an RBI and a walk and a strikeout. That was Tate Klum's batting yesterday. 2 balls and no strikes now to number 5, Tate Klum, who's at third base. There's a mile-high pop-up on the infield, and that is going to hit safely in foul territory. Jack Weesey gave it a look. First baseman Sterling Schaff was charging in as well toward the ball, but neither could come up with it. Again, 15 to 20 miles an hour, I think the wind out here this afternoon, about 76, 77 degrees out here so far as well. Kind of, you can feel kind of some of that sticky humidity coming back, though, in the air here in Milbank. 2 balls and 1 strike now the count to Tate Klum. Here's Here's the Grady Ramos pitch. That's high and in on the fastball. So Ramos behind now, 3 balls and 1 strike to Tate Klum. Cash Negebauer bats next for Parkston. The 3-1 Ramos pitch. Here it is. That is high. Klum takes the walk. So Tate Klum becomes the first base runner for Parkston post 194 here this afternoon.
Number 6, Cash Negebauer.
And that will bring up Cash Negebauer now. Let's see what Cash did against Parkston yesterday. Cash had a couple of hits, a couple of RBIs, a couple of walks, and a strikeout. And Cash Negebauer now. Here's the pitch to him. There's a strike at the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike. Coulter Kramer will bat next here for Parkston. We're in the bottom of the 2nd inning. No score. And he squares to bunt now and deadens that one down the third base line. Ramos goes to first, and they get the runner at first, trying to go over to third. And making it safely is Tate Klum. So out at first base was Cash Negebauer on a nice play by pitcher Grady Ramos. And he just got Negebauer at first, and in the meantime, not stopping at second, keeping going to third was Tate Klum, and he got in there safely. So Tate Klum now is at third with only 1 out. Coulter Kramer in center field now is batting. And here's the pitch from Ramos. There's a bunt that goes foul. Coulter Kramer yesterday had 1 hit, no RBIs, a walk, and a couple of strikeouts. And he scored a run. A no ball, 1 strike count now to Coulter Kramer from Grady Ramos. Here it is. That's high on the fastball from Grady that time. Here's the 1-1. That's a pop fly, foul, out of play, behind home plate.
There goes Milbank forward, foul ball.
1 ball and 2 strikes now. The count to Coulter Kramer here on a sunny, now sun-splashed field here at Legion Field at Farley Park. 1-2 the count. Here comes the pitch. That sails high on the fastball from Ramos to Kramer. So it evens up the count now. 2 balls and 2 strikes to number 7 for post 194. Again, no score if you're just tuning in. Bottom of the 2nd inning. Here's the Ramos pitch. That's way high. Nice catch behind the dish that time by Jack Weesey. So a full count now to Coulter Kramer with Klum over at third for Parkston. Here is the pitch. There is a swing and a miss. What a big strikeout, and strikeout number 1 for Grady Ramos here this afternoon. And that'll bring up Mason Jervik now for post 194. Jervik yesterday, no hits, 2 RBIs though, no walks, no strikeouts, and he scored a run. Takes the ball, 1 ball and no strikes now to Mason Jervik. Here comes the pitch. That is high, so Mason Jervik jumps ahead now, 2 balls and no strikes. Again, Tate Klum is at third with 2 outs for Parkston, post 194. Here's the pitch. That is a ball, 3 balls and no strikes. Three balls, no strikes to Jervik. Klum is at third, no score. Here's the pitch. That is a ball, so Jervik gets the walk. That'll bring up now second baseman Drew Braley for Parkston, post 194. And out of the first base dugout comes Dakota Valley's coach. Man, might be a meeting at the mound here. Just Simple meeting at the mound, I would guess. Again, we want to thank some of our sponsors here for the tournament. Birch Miller, Post 9, American Legion Post.
Jeff Kramer, Parkson.
Lewis Family Drug, First Choice Real Estate, Roy's Sports Shop, Jurgen's C-Store, Milbank Ford, Harry's Implement Fernie, Street Graphics, Schmidt's Landing, Milbank Eye Care, the Otter Tail Power Company, Har Motors, Barry Keith, Al's Body Shop, Strong Realty, Dairy Queen, Ortonville, Dakota Country Ag Service, Whetstone Sanitation, Millstone Family Restaurant, and Pro Image Partners. Those are your sponsors here for the all tournament games, all the games in the tournament. And again, that'll bring up number 2 now, Drew Braley for Parkston. We're going to check his stat line here from yesterday. There's this, tried to be a steal, and Klum is going to come home in the meantime, but getting caught between first and second is the base runner, Mason Jervik, and he's going to be tagged out between first and second. And Klum does score, though, before that happens, so it is 1-0 Parkston. But now 2 innings are over here at the final day of the Class B American Legion State Baseball Tournament. Parkston 1 and Dakota Valley 0. We'll be back with more baseball coming up here in a minute on KMSD.
Step up to the plate with farm equipment you can count on. From Harry Implement in Fernie, your hometown Case IH and Massey Ferguson dealer, delivering a lineup of tractors, combines, and hay equipment that hits it out of the park. Need parts? Service? We're in your corner. Family owned since 1935. Harry Implement is built on hard work and rooted in the land, just like America's pastime. Harry Implement in Fernie. Sales, service, and parts that cover all the bases. Harry Implement, proud to support the Groton Legion Post 39 baseball team at the state tournament.
Here's where the good ideas come from. Street Graphics, Main Street, Milbank, working with local schools to provide ideas and solutions for fundraising. They can customize a design just for you. T-shirts, trophies, banners, buttons, contract printing, they do it all. They work in quantities from 1 to 5,000. Printing and promotions, they print on anything but paper. See them at streetgraphics.com. That's graphics with an EX. Main Street, Milbank, South Dakota, streetgraphics.com.
And welcome back here to the top of the 3rd inning. Dakota Valley is batting and trailing Parkston now 1-0 here on the scoreboard. Jake Pick in the batter's box now for DV. He sends one into center field for a single. Nice solid single that time to center by Jake Pick. Center fielder Coulter Kramer goes over a little bit to left center to cut the line drive off. And that'll bring up Will Schnabel now, the right fielder. In yesterday's game, Schnabel had no hits, no RBIs, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. He did score a couple runs, though. And here's the pitch. That's a grounder to the pitcher Summer. He swings it over to first base, and Schnabel is out. Pitcher to first. Jake Pick goes to second. I'll bring up Ethan Seaton now for Dakota Valley. So Pick is on second. He represents the tying run here for Dakota Valley. And there's a bunt in the air, but it goes foul. Wind really, really picking up out here at Legion Field at Farley Park. So Ethan Seaton now with a no ball, 1 strike count. Again, the winner of this game gets Del Rapids 1 hour after the completion of this game. Here's the pitch. There's a bunt. It's a good one, but that's going to go just foul. And wisely not picking it up until it went foul was catcher Caden Holzbauer for Parkston. So returning to home plate now for another swing at least here is Ethan Seaton, and going back to second is Jake Pick for post number 319. Again, we're in the top of the third. Parkston is leading here 1-0. Championship Tuesday. The winner of this one gets Del Rapids for the outright championship of this 2025 Class B State American Legion Baseball Tournament. Here's the 0-2. That's an excuse me swing that time, and the ball happens to hit the bat foul. No balls and 2 strikes. I think the count still remains. Yep, a 2-strike count to Ethan Seaton. With pick out at second. Here's the pitch, excuse me, that's low. 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Ethan Seaton. If Ethan reaches, well, Grady Ramos should come up anyway, barring a double play. 1 ball and no strikes. The count now to Ethan Seaton. He swings and misses. And, well, okay, the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Ethan Seaton. Ethan at shortstop here, or in left field. Ethan is at left field here this afternoon defensively. Little meeting at the mound between Holzbauer and Summer. Holzbauer returns back behind the dish now. And the 1 ball, 2 strike pitch upcoming here to Ethan Seaton. And here's the Summer pitch, and that is fouled back to the retaining wall here to keep the at-bat alive for Ethan Seaton. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Shortstop Mason Jervik runs in really quickly from his shortstop position to just whisper like literally 2 or 3 words to his pitcher. Now he's back to his normal shortstop position. With pick at second, 1 ball and 2 strikes now, and here's the pitch to Seaton, and there's a swing and a miss. So strikeout number 3 for Carter Summer here on a Tuesday afternoon. We turn over the top of the lineup now, and number 22, the pitcher, Grady Ramos. Grady Ramos, one of the 3 strikeout victims here so far this afternoon for Carter Summer. Pick still at second, but now there's 2 outs here for Dakota Valley, post number 319. Here's the pitch on the fastball from Summer that sails outside. 1 ball and no strikes. Not too bad of a crowd gathered out here on a Tuesday morning. Here's the Tuesday afternoon. And the throw goes back to second. And I think our banner in front of us here is setting sail in the wind. 1 ball and no strikes. Here comes the pitch. That is outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Or 2 balls and no strikes. To Grady Ramos. And here comes the pitch. That is outside on the outside corner. 2 balls and 1 strike to Ramos. Again, Ramos 0 for 1 here in the stat line so far this afternoon. And there's a pickoff play at second again, but diving back in safely head first is the runner Jake Pick. So 2-1 the count now to Grady Ramos. And here's the pitch. There's a swing and a foul down the left field line. Getting around a little bit too late on that one that time was Grady Ramos. So he shoots it to the left foul to even the count now. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Carter Summer now comes to the set with Pick on second. Checks Jake out there. Here's the pitch that sails outside. So the count is full now to Grady Ramos. 3 balls and 2 strikes. 1-0. Parkston is leading here on the scoreboard. Here's the pitch. That's outside. So Ramos takes the walk. And that now will bring up Noah Graham, who got hit by a pitch. His only other time up this afternoon.
Now batting the second baseman, number 16, Noah Graham.
And there, I think he got hit again. And he is laying down now in front of home plate. Hopefully, Graham is going to be okay. He's on his knees now, and he's kind of hunched over forward. So, again, we only hope the best here for Noah Graham. He's the second baseman here this afternoon for Dakota Valley. Got his helmet off now. One of the coaches is looking at him. Actually, a couple of their coaches are looking at him. Again, hopefully Noah Graham will be okay here for Dakota Valley, post number 319. Again, like we've said a number of times here already, the winner of this one gets Del Rapids about an hour after this game. We usually have taken a half-hour break, but now since it is the team that's one of the teams that's playing now, of course, will be the winner. So obviously this team, whoever wins this game, will need a little time to recover in between games. So that's why they give them the hour instead of the half hour. But Noah Graham is still kind of hunched over in front of home plate. And looks like he is going to be okay. He's going to jog down to first.
Now batting the catcher, number 84, Jack Weesey.
So Jake Pick now is at third. Ramos is at second. Graham is at first. So now the bases are loaded here for post 319, and that'll bring up Jack Weesey with 2 outs, but an ideal opportunity to tie matters here. 1-0, Parkston is leading. And here's the pitch. That is across the plate, but low to Jack Weesey. So 1 ball and no strikes to count now to the Dakota Valley catcher. And here comes the summer pitch. That is grounded hard to third base. And taking the force at third is Tate Klum. So forced out at third is Grady Ramos. And that closes 2.5 here as Dakota Valley loads the bases but cannot cash in here, at least this half inning. 2.5 done here. Game 1 of 2 today, the final day of the State Class B American Legion Baseball Tournament. Your score, Parkston 1 and Dakota Valley 0. Back with more coming up in a minute on KMSD.
Dreaming of a getaway? Escape to Schmidt's Landing on beautiful Big Stone Lake. Whether you're casting for walleyes, perch or bass, or just enjoying the stunning views, Schmidt's Landing has something for everyone. Relax in comfortable lakeside suites, or set up your camper or tent for a long weekend. How about spending this summer at your seasonal RV spot? There are also boat and pontoon rentals, plus a fully stocked C-store with bait and license. Discover a family adventure or a peaceful retreat at Schmidt's Landing. Visit schmidtslanding.com and like them on Facebook. This summer in Milbank, the crack of the bat and cheers from the stands bring us all together. Whether you're watching your grandkid hustle to first base or catching a game under the lights, Milbank Eye Care is here to help you see it all. No squinting required. From clear glasses to summer shades, they'll help you catch every moment in sharp focus. Swing by to make an appointment for a checkup. Milbank Eye Care. Clear vision, community pride, and baseball memories made sharp.
And welcome back to a cloudy and windy Milbank, South Dakota here on Championship Tuesday. The champion of the 2025 Class B American Legion Baseball Tournament will be decided here after a while. Again, like we said, the winner of this one gets Del Rapids for the outright championship to determine who wins it, of course. And so we'll have that game as well here on KMSD and streaming audio and video as we have been all tournament. And like I know Mike has said yesterday too, this takes a lot of people to put on a tournament like this, and we want to thank each and every one of them. Kind of thank the board ops back at the studio. They've sat through 14 games here, just about. This is the 14th game, and then number 15 to follow. So that's a lot of time out of their weekend and early work week as well. So thanks to the board ops. Of course, obviously, thanks to all the sponsors and all the volunteers out here, the grounds crew, all the people involved with this tournament. Again, I'm not going to start naming names names because I will unintentionally forget somebody, of course, but thanks to everybody involved with this tournament here this year. Here's Drew Braley now for Parkston. He steps in the batter's box and takes a strike. Drew Braley yesterday had 1 hit, 0 RBIs, 1 walk, and a couple of strikeouts. Here's the pitch to Braley. He swings and misses. Actually, maybe that was a foul tip, but no balls and 2 strikes to count now to Drew Braley. And here comes the 0-2. There is a grounder to third. Vincent Hoffman takes it on the first hop over to first. Drew Braley is out. Third to first. That'll bring up Jax Kurtenbach now for Parkston.
Now batting the left fielder, number 11, Jax Kurtenbach.
Jax hit a triple yesterday, no RBIs, 1 walk and a strikeout. That was Jax's output yesterday against Groton, in which Parkston scored 5 in the top of the 7th to erase at that time a 6-6 game. They won 11-6 over Groton, eliminating Groton yesterday. Here's the 0-1. That's a strike at the knees. So quickly ahead now is Grady Ramos. No balls and 2 strikes to Jax Kurtenbach. And the 0-2 is just a little bit low. 1 ball and 2 strikes now. Turn the top of the lineup, and Caden Holzbauer up next for Parkston. And here's the pitch that sails high. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Here's the 2-2. There's a called third strike. Fastball right down the pipe that time. Strikeout number 2 for Grady Ramos. That'll bring up Caden Holzbauer, who flew out to left this afternoon. He's 0 for 1 here in the game. And the Ramos pitch, that is a good one right across the plate. On the fastball, no balls and 1 strike now to Caden Holzbauer. And the 0-1 Ramos pitch, that is a little bit high right across the plate, but high. 1 ball and 1 strike now from Grady Ramos to Caden Holzbauer. And here's the pitch from Ramos. That is on the inside corner that time for a strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Caden Holzbauer. Base is empty. 2 out here for Parkston in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Here's a swing and a dribbler down the first base line foul. One of the Parkston coaches, first base coach, comes and picks it up and throws it back to the ball boy. So the count rides along at 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Holzbauer. The lefty Ramos's pitch. That's right back to Ramos on the mound. Grady has it, runs halfway over, flips it over to first base, and Holzbauer is out. Pitcher to first. So 3 innings complete. It is Parkston post 194-1, Dakota Valley post 319-0. We'll return to Milbank with more from the State Class B American Legion Baseball Tournament in 1 minute on KMSD.
When Mother Nature turns up the temperature, we all feel the heat. It can add stress to almost everything, including the energy resources we rely on. Otter Tail Power Company reminds you there are easy ways to help. Use only necessary lights and turn them off when you leave a room. Turn your AC thermostat up a few degrees. And use window coverings to block the heat of the sun during the day. Visit otpco.com/tips for more ideas on how to stay cool. Together we can all make a difference to help beat the heat.
Looking for your next ride? R Motors in Aberdeen is now offering 0% financing for qualified buyers on select Nissan Rogues, Pathfinders, and Muranos. Plus, don't miss great deals on Toyota Tacomas and Tundras. They're the home of the lifetime warranty, so you can drive with confidence for miles to come. Stop in and see Barry Keith at R Motors, just across from the airport in Aberdeen, or call 605-725-8624. Proud to support the Groton Legion Post number 39 baseball team. Good luck in the region tournament.
welcome back to the birthplace of American Legion Baseball right here in Milbank, South Dakota, 100 years ago. Again, I'm Chad, Jeff back at the studio. Glad to be along with you here, bringing you this whole tournament. And again, big thanks to Micah Warrington for taking every other day. I did Friday, he did Saturday, I did Sunday, he did Monday, and I'm doing Tuesday. So thanks to Micah for his efforts as well, making the trip down here and helping us cover this tournament. Of course, he did a fantastic job, as he always does. So, coming up now for Dakota Valley here in the top of the fourth inning, Sterling Schaff, who grounded out to second. So he's 0 for 1 here this afternoon. Here is the Carter Summer pitch. That's the fastball that sails outside. 1 ball and no strikes now to Sterling Schaff. Here's the pitch. There's a fly ball out of play to the left.
That foul ball.
Again, a 15-mile-an-hour wind or so, gusting up to 20 and a little bit over that here this afternoon so far. As the 1-1, here's the pitch. That is low. So 2 balls and 1 strike. To Schaff, here's the pitch. That is also hit down the left field line, but foul. So the count evens now at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Here's the 2-2. That sails high and outside. Off the glove of the catcher, Holzbauer. To fill up the count now to Sterling Schaff. And here's the payoff pitch. Called. 3rd strike. Rung up that time is Sterling Schaff. Strikeout number 4 for Carter Summer here this afternoon. And that'll bring up now Vincent Hoffman, the 3rd baseman. He struck out, so he's 0 for 1. And here's the pitch from Summer. That's at the knees, but outside. 1 ball and no strikes. To the 3rd baseman. Here's the pitch. That is a ball. 2 balls and no strikes now. Vincent Hoffman wears number 42 for Dakota Valley, post number 319. Here's the pitch. That is inside that time to Vincent Hoffman. Takes it. 2 balls and 1 strike, or 3 balls and no strikes. And here comes the pitch. That is high, so Hoffman earns a walk. Second walk given up so far by pitcher Carter Summer, and there's going to be a meeting at the mound. Parkston's coach comes out of the 3rd base dugout. And I believe they're just going to probably be talking a little bit of strategy out there. Again, you're in tune to the State Class B American Legion Baseball Tournament right here on Classic Hits 95.1 KMSD FM, 1510 AM KMSD, and streaming audio and video, BigStoneRadio.com.
Number 7, Tate Cornelson.
Now, meeting at the mound is over. Shortstop number 7, Tate Cornelson, comes into the batter's box. He's 0 for 1 on the fly out to right field. And there's the Summer pitch right at the knees on the fastball. A 1-strike count now to Cornelson. And here's the pitch. That's into left field. Just foul. I was going to call that a single, but that was just foul. It went just to the left of the 3rd base bag on a line. So Vincent Hoffman returns to first. Cornelson back to the batter's box with a no-ball, 2-strike count. Boy, that wasn't fouled by very much down the left field line, but it was. And the 0-2 pitch now to Cornelson. Here it is. There's a fly ball out the other way to right field. So he hits a line drive down the left field line, foul, and now he hits a fly ball out to the right side, the opposite side for Cornelson. Yeah, conventional wisdom is if he puts one right in the middle of those two, he's probably got himself a base hit. The two-strike pitch now upcoming to Cornelsen. Here it is. There's a swing and a foul tip. Not held on to cleanly that time by Caden Holzbauer. So still in the batter's box is Cornelsen with a no-ball, two-strike count. Hoffman over at first for Dakota Valley. 1-0 Parkston, top of the fourth. Here's the pitch. There is a grounder to third, but that is foul as well. Fielded over there in foul territory by Tate Klum. But all Tate can do with it is return it to his catcher, or to his pitcher, Carter Summer. So the count's still 2 balls and no strikes. Or no balls and 2 strikes. To Tate Cornelsen. Here comes the Carter Summer 0-2. And that is a called third strike. Rung up on strikes is Tate Cornelsen. So strikeout number 5 for Carter Summer here this afternoon so far. Through 3 2/3 innings of work.
Number 15, Jake Pitt.
And that'll bring up Jake Pick, who singled in the third and was eventually stranded at third. Here's the pitch. There's a grounder to short. Jervik from his shortstop position, and that's not going to be in time. Pick reaches.
Now batting the right fielder, number 36, Will Schnabel.
I'm guessing that, I don't know, it could be an error, I guess. Anyway, Pick is on first base. What happened was the third baseman, Klum, kind of cut in front of shortstop Jervik, and then by the time they both were in the way, kind of each other's way, basically, the throw was too late. So taking a strike now is Will Schnabel. Here's the pitch. That is a strike at the knees. So quickly ahead again now is Carter Summer, 0-2 to Will Schnabel. He grounded out to pitcher, and here's the Summer fastball. That's high. 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Will Schnabel. Hoffman on second, Pick on first. There's a dribbler down the first base line, foul. So 1 ball and 2 strikes remains the count now to Will Schnabel. And the 1-2, that is low. Two balls, 2 strikes to Schnabel. And the 2-2, here it is. Schnabel fouls that one at the plate to keep the at-bat alive. 2 balls and 2 strikes now to Will Schnabel. Again, Hoffman at second, Pick over at first. 1-0 Parkston here in the top of the fourth inning. Here's the pitch. That is a called third strike to Schnabel. So striking out the side, actually, that time was pitcher Carter Summer. He's got 6 of them, but there was a couple of guys on base in between. But anyway, 3.5 complete. State Class B American Legion Baseball Championship Tuesday. It's Dakota Valley 0 and Parkston 1. We'll be back with more baseball coming up in a minute on KMSD.
Are you in need of collision repair? Look no further than Al's Body Shop. Their team of expert technicians has years of experience and are dedicated to getting your car or truck back on the road in no time. From minor dings to major body damage, they've got you covered. And with their state-of-the-art equipment, they can handle any make or model. Plus, they work with all insurance companies to make the process as easy as possible. Don't let an accident slow you down. Go see Al's Body Shop today. Al's Body Shop, Milbank. Quality collision repair you can trust. Dairy Queen in Ortonville is your locally owned and operated DQ, serving the Big Stone Lake area and beyond. Beat the summer heat with one of their cool treats like the famous Blizzard, Peanut Buster Parfait, and dip cones, sundaes, and more. If you're looking for the best meal deal around $7, the DQ deal meal cannot be beat. Choose from a cheeseburger or chicken strips, fries, beverage, and a sundae for only $7. Make the sundae a Blizzard for just $2 more. Hot eats, cool treats at Dairy Queen in Ortonville. Open 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily. And welcome
welcome back to Milbank State Class B American Legion Baseball Tournament. We are going to enter the home half of the fourth here as Parkston comes to the plate. Leading here 1-0.
For Parkston in the bottom of the fourth inning, the pitcher, number 4, Drew Carter Summer.
So that'll bring up the pitcher now, Carter Summer, who's 0 for 1 on the fly out to right back in the first. And here's the Grady Ramos pitch. That is inside. That just about hit Summer, but it did not. So 1 ball and no strikes now to Carter Summer here in the bottom of the fourth. Again, the winner of this game gets Del Rapids for the outright championship of Class B Legion Baseball for the 2025 season. The 100th season, by the way, the centennial year. As that pitch goes low to Carter Summer. So 2 balls and no strikes now to Carter. James Deckard waits on deck here for Parkston. So 2 balls and no strikes now to Carter Summer. And here comes the pitch. That is an excuse me hit down to the first base coach in foul territory. 2 balls and 1 strike now to Carter Summer. And the Grady Ramos pitch. Here it is. There's a pop fly. And running over and losing his cap on his way is Sterling Schaff at first base, and he cannot catch up to it as it goes in foul territory. Also giving it a good chase was second baseman Noah Graham, but neither young man could catch up with that one before that went out of play. So 2 balls and 2 strikes now to Carter Summer here in the bottom of the fourth. Here's the Ramos pitch, and there's another pop fly and another. Well, that's going to be down the first base line, and gloving at that time is Schaff, and he throws it way over the head of the shortstop on the return throw there. But anyway, Summer pops out to the first baseman Sterling Schaff in foul territory. So that was Deckard. Beg your pardon. No, this is Deckard. Okay, I just wrote something in the wrong column. Okay, that's my bad. All right, Deckard now in the batter's box. James Deckard grounded out third to first, so he is 0 for 1. There's a pitch to Deckard. That is a swing and a miss. 2 balls and 1 strike now to number 9, the right fielder here this afternoon, James Deckard. And here's the 2-1, and that sails high on the Ramos fastball. Three balls and 1 strike now to Deckard. Here's the pitch. He goes with it and hits it the opposite way and out of play, foul. So the full count now, 3 balls and 2 strikes to James Deckard. Tate Klum waits on deck here for post 194. And there's a ball, and that's going to get away. Deckard is extremely fast. We've seen that in this tournament. And he thought about trying to go to second on the walk as that got away from the catcher. But Deckard is at first now on the walk. And that will bring up Tate Klum now, who has walked, and he has scored the only run of this game so far by either team. Again, Parkston leads here 1-0 in the bottom of the fourth inning. Winner gets Del Rapids in the championship game here 1 hour after the completion of this one. Here's the pitch. That is inside on the inside corner for a strike to Klum. 1 strike to Tate Klum. Deckard on first. We'll see if he's going to go anywhere. No, he's not. Klum hits one hard down the third base line. Foul. So no balls and 2 strikes to Tate Klum. comes the 0-2. That's outside. Klum has a home run already here in the tournament. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And here comes the pitch to Tate. That is on the inside corner. Called 3rd strike. So strikeout number 3 recorded here this afternoon for Grady Ramos. And that'll now bring up Cash Negebauer, the first baseman. Cash went out, pitcher to first. Back in the second, 0 for 1 here on the stat line on your Tuesday here for Cash Negebauer. Here's the pitch to Cash. That sails high from Ramos on the fastball. 1 ball and no strikes. Deckert still over at first for Parkston, but now there are 2 outs here in the home half of the 4th. It is 1-0. Parkston is clinging to that 1-run advantage here. And the Ramos 1-0. Here it comes. That is on the inside corner at the knees for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. So the 1-1 count now. Throw over to first. Getting back in, standing up is James Deckert. Actually, James not that far off the bag that time, but Ramos said, I'm got an eye on you here, Deckert. I'm going to watch if you go or not. Ramos checks Deckert a couple, 3 times. Here comes the lefty's pitch. There's a mile-high fly ball pop-up into foul territory. Losing his catching mask and cap is Jack Weesey, giving it a look, but it goes out of play, foul. So 1 ball and 2 strikes now the count to Cash Negebauer. Home plate umpire Mike Sarda steps out in front of home plate, calls time, and now he's back in his umpiring position behind home plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Negebauer with Deckert on first. And here's the pitch from Ramos. That is low and inside. Going to second is Deckert. And James will get in standing up down at second base. So stolen base belongs to James Deckert. Cash Negebauer with a 2-ball, 2-strike count with 2 outs here in the home half of the 4th. And here's the Ramos pitch. There is a swing and a miss. Strikeout number 4 for Grady Ramos. Parkston leaves Deckert at second. They do not score here in the bottom of the 4th. 4 complete. State Class B American Legion Baseball Tournament 2025. It is Parkston Post 194-1, Dakota Valley Post 319-0. We'll be back with more baseball in a minute on KMSD.
Dakota Country Ag Service in Milbank is your local Pioneer seed dealer. Dakota Country is now offering soil testing, and they have winter wheat and rye available. Dakota Country also has inoculants for hay silage, both soluble and dry, and inoculants for baling hay as well. For more information or to schedule an on-the-farm visit, call Paul 605-467-0715 or Riley 605-949-4170. Dakota Country Ag Service, your local Pioneer seed dealer in Milbank. Whetstone Sanitation is your locally owned and locally operated garbage service provider in Milbank, rural Grant County, and along Big Stone Lake. Whetstone Sanitation offers once or twice a week residential pickup and up to 5 days per week commercial pickup. Whetstone Sanitation offers 14, 20, and 30-yard roll-off dumpster rentals for those big cleanup projects. Whetstone Sanitation also has quality portable toilet rentals and septic pumping service. And of course, they still provide 24/7 self-service recycling drop-off. Call Whetstone Sanitation today, 432-5854.
And And welcome back. Opening the top of the fifth here is Dakota Valley post 319, and Ethan Seaton will get in the batter's box now for Dakota Valley, who is trailing Parkston here 1-0. Seaton struck out back in the third. Summer has 6 strikeouts here this afternoon. There's a bunt in the air, foul, but nobody back there, of course, to catch it. It went about mid-range height in the air that time, but no, there's no way possibly defensively for anybody to get over there to catch it. So Seaton now with a no ball, 1 strike count. And here comes the pitch. That's a bunt. The same thing just about, except a foul just a little bit more off to the right that time, but in foul territory, but in the air. So Seaton now behind. No balls and 2 strikes. And here's the 0-2. There is a swing and a miss on the Summer fastball. Strikeout number 7 now recorded by Carter Summer for Parkston.
Grady Ramos.
Well, I'll bring up the top of the lineup now with Grady Ramos. Grady has walked, and he has struck out here so far this afternoon. Again, we're in the top of the 5th. Parkston leading 1-0 here, and again, we will take an hour in between this game and the championship game. The winner gets Del Rapids. Here comes the pitch. That is low and inside now from Carter Summer to Grady Ramos. And there's a strike at the knees. Summer pitching a pretty solid game here so far this afternoon. He's only given up a couple hits. He's struck out 7 batters. The 1-1 now. Here's the pitch. That is low and inside. 2 balls and 1 strike to Grady Ramos. The 2-1 Summer pitch. There's a hit into right field, and that is just inside the right field line. Ramos on his horse. He wants 2. Nice throw into second base, though, by right fielder James Deckert. A 1-hopper to the shortstop Jervik, but beating it safely for a double is Grady Ramos.
Now batting second baseman number 16, Noah Graham.
Oh, give Deckert all the credit in the world for that one. His momentum was taking him into foul territory in right field, and he squared up and threw a 1-hop BB to shortstop Mason Jervik, and getting in safely though was Ramos, but that was a bang play at second base. And now brings up Noah Graham. Noah was hit by actually he's been hit by a pitch twice. That last time he was down for a while, but looks like Noah is okay. Here's a pitch. There's a pop fly into right on the right side of the field, and that is in foul territory, caught by Cash Negebauer in foul territory.
Now batting the catcher number 84, Jack Weesey.
Now to bring up now Jack Weesey, who has popped out this afternoon so far. He was in the batter's box. He kind of reached on a fielder's choice, but out at third was Grady Ramos. Anyway, here's the pitch. That is inside. 1 ball and no strikes now to Jack Weesey here in the top of the 5th. Parkston is leading 1-0. The winner gets Del Rapids for the championship. Here's the pitch that sails high. 1 or 2 balls and no strikes. 2 balls and no strikes now to Jack Weesey. Here's the pitch. That is low and inside. 3 balls and no strikes. Grady Ramos is at second base, the tying run. Here's the pitch. That's a strike at the knees and the fastball that time. Jack Weesey takes it. 3 balls and 1 strike now to number 84. And the Carter Summer pitch. There's a swing and a miss. So nice job to battle back here by pitcher Carter Summer. He fell quickly behind. 3 balls and no strikes. Now it is a full count. And Ramos will get the early lead, or the early start off of second base with 2 outs. Here's the pitch. That is low. And Weesey draws a walk.
Now batting first baseman number 8, Sterling Shaw.
So Sterling Sterling Schaff to the batter's box now. He has struck out and grounded out to second. We'll tell you, you're in tune to Classic Hits 95.1 KMSD FM, 1510 AM KMSD, Milbank, South Dakota. And here's a pitch that is popped up on the infield. Cash Negebauer at first base puts it away. So Sterling Schaff pops out in foul territory to first baseman Cash Negebauer. 4.5 complete. State Class B American Legion Baseball. It is Parkston 1, Dakota Valley 0. We'll be back with more baseball coming up in a minute on KMSD.
As the temperatures rise this summer, the Millstone Family Restaurant in Milbank has decided if you're melting, we're melting. With their all-new summer menu featuring all things melty. Start with the chicken Parmesan melt with crispy chicken, deep-fried mozzarella cheese on toasted Texas toast. Yum! The cheesy taco wrap and elevated super burrito with Monterey Jack cheese sauce. So cheesy. The super quesadilla, a classic cranked up a notch, and the cheeseburger salad just may be your new favorite. If you're melting, we're melting. At the Millstone Family Restaurant, East Highway 12, Milbank.
Pro Image Partners. Pro Image Partners. So many reasons why you can turn to us. We'll help you show your pride. You want the best for work or play. We're your one-stop image shop. We'll help you show your pride. ProImagePartners.com.
And the 50-50 drawing is going out as we speak. I didn't catch what the amount was, but they do that here once a game, I believe, for the whole tournament, the 50-50 drawing. And you are in tune to the bottom of the fifth inning here, Parkston and Dakota Valley. Again, the winner gets Del Rapids is for the State Class B American Legion Baseball Championship here for the 2025 and Centennial season here. Again, thanks to these sponsors, all tournament, all game sponsors, Pro Image Partners, Millstone Family Restaurant, Whetstone Sanitation, Dakota Country Ag Service, Strong Realty, Dairy Queen, Ortonville, Al's Body Shop, Har Motors, Barry, Keith, Otter Tail Power Company, Milbank Eye Care, Schmidt's Landing, Street Graphics, Harry's Implement Fernie, Milbank Ford, Jurgen C-Store, Roy's Sports Shop, First Choice Real Estate, Lewis Family Drug, and Birch Miller Post 9, American Legion Post here from Milbank, South Dakota. And that will now bring up number 7, the center fielder, Coulter Kramer for Parkston. Here to start the bottom of the fifth. Coulter struck out back in the second inning. There's a pop-up on the infield. Sterling Schaff at first base has that one. So Coulter Kramer pops out to first.
Now batting the shortstop, number 0, Mason Jervik.
And that'll bring up now the shortstop, number 0, Mason Jervik. Mason has walked, and he was out between first and second. He was kind of caught in a rundown back in the second inning. Ramos fires in a fastball for a strike, no ball, and 1 strike. Here's the pitch. That is at the knees, but a little bit higher and outside, I guess. 1 ball and 1 strike now to Mason Jervik, the shortstop. The Ramos delivery, here it is. That's fouled back to the netting behind home plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Mason Jervik. Again, 1-0 Parkston. If you're just tuning in here, we're in the bottom of the fifth inning. Final day of the Class B State American Legion Baseball Tournament. Here's the foul out of play.
There goes
into the parking lot. Didn't hear any cracked windshields or dented rooftops that time, but in the parking lot nonetheless. Here's the 1-2. That is low and inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes now to Jervik. Grady Ramos's pitch, here it is. That is fisted to short. Tate Cornelson up with it over to first. Mason Jervik out short to first. And that now will bring up second baseman Drew Braley. Drew Braley back in the third, grounded out to third. So Drew 0 for 1 here in the stat line. Again, Parkston has only managed, well, they don't have any hits here so far against Grady Ramos. Ramos has struck out 4 here so far this afternoon. And here's the Ramos pitch. That's high. 1 ball and no strikes to Drew Braley. 2 outs, nobody on here. Bottom of the 5th, 1-0. Here's the pitch. That's a strike at the knees on the Ramos fastball that time. 1 ball and 1 strike.
We're going to roll with it, but it'll be approximate. Make sure you use the word approximate.
To Drew Braley.
30 minutes after completion of the game. Because I think it'll be closer to 45.
2 balls and a strike to Braley.
Oh, Danny. They're hitting.
And here's the pitch. That's fouled back to the netting.
They were anticipating an hour. He's fine with it, but I said I don't want my pitcher rushed.
2 balls and 2 strikes now to Drew Braley. And here comes the pitch. That is a swing and a miss. Ramos's 5th strikeout here. So 5 are complete here in game 1 of the final day of the American Legion State Baseball Championship here at Milbank. We'll be back with more. It is Parkston 1 and Dakota Valley 0. We'll be back with more baseball coming up here in a minute on KMSD.
Milbank Legion Post 9 welcomes all teams and fans to the state tournament. Milbank is the birthplace of Legion baseball, and they're honored to be able to host the event at the new ballpark. What started 100 years ago has grown to over 50 states and Canada, with over 3,500 teams participating. American Legion baseball, giving players an opportunity to develop their skills, personal fitness, leadership qualities, and have more fun. Play ball.
Lewis Family Drug is your one-stop location. In addition to quality prescription and non-prescription drugs with free delivery, Lewis has a huge selection of everyday basics and name brands and specialty items, always at affordable prices. They carry seasonal items, fabrics, crafts, and groceries. Shopping at your local Lewis Drug is more simple and more rewarding than ever. Download the Lewis mobile app to add on-the-go convenience to your errands. Lewis Family Drug, everyday savings close to home.
And welcome back here to the State Championship Tuesday. And Dakota Valley now will come up here in the top of the 6th inning as Vincent Hoffman will lead things off. And I believe we have an update here for you this afternoon. The championship game, whoever wins this they will go against El Rapids, and that will be about a half an hour, give or take. We were announcing earlier an hour in between games, but now I think they've chopped that down to about a half hour. So a half hour, give or take, anyway, in between games. Not quite an hour, I think, is what the latest call is. So no ball and 1 strike now to Vincent Hoffman, who has walked and he has struck out. Hoffman takes a ball, 1 ball and 1 strike from Parkston right-hander Carter Summer. Again, you're locked in here on a Tuesday afternoon, State Class B American Legion Baseball tournament here in Milbank, South Dakota. Again, you're in Championship Tuesday here. Again, the winner, like we just got done saying, gets Del Rapids. And now that game has been bumped up perhaps just a little bit, about a half hour in between games. Here's the pitch. That's high and inside. 2 balls and 1 strike. To Vincent Hoffman. Here's the 2-1. That is right at the knees. Nice pitch that time by Summer. So 2 balls and 2 strikes now to Vincent Hoffman. Tate Cornelson will bat next here for Dakota Valley. 1-0 Parkston here in the top of the 6th. And here is the pitch. That is a grounder to third, foul.
Ramos is noting Parkston, and Parkston's doing it for 2 hits.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Here comes the pitch from Summer. That's a fastball that misses to fill up the count now. 3 balls and 2 strikes. And here comes the 3-2. Hoffman checks his swing and does not offer. Vincent Hoffman is on with a walk.
Now batting the shortstop, number 7, Tate Cornelson.
And that will bring up the shortstop now, number 7, Tate Cornelson. Cornelson is struck out and flied out to right field. Here's the pitch from Summer. There's a bunt. Summer fields his position, goes to second, and they do force out Vincent Hoffman. So reaching first on the fielder's choice is Tate Cornelson.
Now batting the center fielder, number 15, Jake Pitt.
As Hoffman is forced out at second. A nice heads-up defensive play that time by Carter Summer. And he fielded the bunt and then looked to second and put a nice throw out to second base, forcing out Vincent Hoffman. So Cornelson is at first base now, and that'll bring up Jake Pick, who has a pair of singles here this afternoon. Actually, Summer has given up 3 hits here so far, 2 of them to this young man right here, Jake Pick. Here's the pitch. That is the throw over to first. Diving back in safely is Tate Cornelson. Jake Pick with a 1-strike count. Same throw over to first. And oh boy, they just about had Cornelson leaning the wrong way that time. That was a close play over at first base. Nice move by Carter Summer. So no ball, 1-strike count. Still the count to Jake Pick. Here comes the pitch. That is hit into right field, and that is going to be foul. So getting around just a little bit too late that time was Jake Pick. So no balls and 2 strikes now to the Dakota Valley center fielder. No ball, 2-strike count here to Jake Pick. Throw over to first. Diving back again in time over there is Tate Cornelson. He's drawn a lot of throws over there at first base from Summer. Summer checks the runner. Here's a hit into right field, but that is right pretty much at James Deckert, and he makes the catch. That'll bring up now Will Schnabel for Dakota Valley.
36, Will Schnabel.
Grounded out, pitcher to first, and he struck out. 1-0. Parkston here is leading. Throw back over to first by Summer, and that is getting back in safely is the runner, Tate Cornelson. Have an acrobatic catch down there by first baseman Cash Negebauer. He kind of did a little spin move there that time to catch that one, and there's a strike at the knees of Schnabel. So no ball, 1 strike now, the count to Schnabel. 2 outs here in the top of the 6th. Throw over to first, and they still didn't get him. Boy, that was really, really close. And so the count is still no ball and 1 strike, the count. That was by far the closest to a pickoff there of Cornelson here in this particular series. Here's the pitch. There's a swing and a miss. No balls and 2 strikes to Schnabel. Again, 1-0 Parkston here in the top of the 6th inning. Here on a Tuesday afternoon, and there's a swing and a miss. Strikeout number 8 recorded by Carter Summer here this afternoon. So Dakota Valley strands a runner at first, scoring no runs in the top of the 6th. 5.5 complete. 1-0 Parkston. State Class B American Legion Baseball from Milbank. Back with more in 1 minute on KMSD.
Looking to sell your home or lake place? First Choice Real Estate is here to help. Whether you're upsizing, downsizing, or simply looking for a fresh start, they want your listing. Their experienced team of agents are ready to go to work for you with proven marketing strategies and a local touch and the local knowledge you can trust. Contact First Choice Real Estate in Milbank today to list your property. Make First Choice Real Estate your first choice. Online at millbanksbest.com. Roy's Sports Shop in Watertown welcomes all teams and fans to town for the Legion Tournament. Roy's has been the sporting goods leader in this area for over 55 years. Uniforms, sports equipment for baseball, softball, hockey, and more. Plus, clothing and footwear, too. Get in the game. Get into Roy's Sports Shop on Highway 212 in Watertown, across from Watertown Ford. Shop weekdays 9 to 6, 10 to 3 on Saturday.
And welcome back to the State Class B American Legion Baseball Tournament here, the 100th year of American Legion Baseball here in the birthplace of Legion Baseball, Milbank, South Dakota. Again, just went next door, and in case you missed it, I announced earlier in the broadcast that we were going to take an hour in between games before the championship game. Well, it'll be a half hour or maybe just a little bit more, but they're going to try to not take a whole hour in between games. So we'll have the game for you, obviously, here on KMSD and on the internet as well. So there's a pitch that is hit into the air by Jax Kurtenbach into right field, and right fielder out there, Will Schnabel, makes the catch. So Jax Kurtenbach.
At the top of the lineup, the catcher number 1, Caden Holzbauer.
Flies out to right. And that'll bring up the top of the lineup, and Caden Holzbauer. 1-0 Parkston. And here's the pitch. Ramos high with the fastball that time. And here comes the pitch to Ramos. There's a grounder to third. Vincent Huffman up with it, over across the diamond. Holzbauer is out. Third to first here. 2 up, 2 down in the home half of the 6th.
Pitcher number 4, Carter Summer.
That'll bring up the pitcher, Carter Summer, who has thrown a 2-hitter here so far. But Ramos for Dakota Valley is still throwing a no-hitter here, even though Parkston is leading 1-0. Here's the Ramos pitch. That is low and inside. 1 ball and no strikes to Summer, who has flied out to right and popped out to first a couple times. 1 ball and no strikes. Here's the pitch from Ramos. That is a swing and a miss. 1 ball and 1 strike now to Carter Summer. One ball and 1 strike. There's a grounder to third, and that's going to be into left field. And how are we scoring that one, boys? Error, okay.
Right fielder number 9, James Decker.
And I asked that specifically that time because that would have been the first hit given up by Ramos, but they're going to give him an error. Here's the pitch. That is to James Deckert now, and he takes a strike. Deckert has walked, and he has grounded out to first. 1 strike the count now to James Deckert. Snap throw to first by Ramos. Not very far off the base that time was Carter Summer, so he dives back in safely. Again, the winner of this one gets Del Rapids for the championship here in Class B for 2025. Here's the pitch. That is grounded to third. Hoffman has it on 1 hop over to first. And they get the speedy James Deckert third to first. So Parkston here in the home half of the 6th does not get any hits, no runs. And it's 1-0 Parkston after 6 complete. And we'll be back with more.
Calling Calling all anglers and adventurers. Discover the ultimate convenience store at Jurgen C-Store in Wilmont. New to our lineup, live bait. That's right, we've got fresh minnows and wriggling worms to help you hook the big one. But wait, there's more. Our deli serves up savory burgers, mouth-watering Piccadilly pizza, snacks, cold beverages, and a whole lot of yum. And don't forget to top off your tank while you're here. Fill up your car, pickup, and boat with top-notch gas so you can hit the road or the water without missing a beat. For all your fishing and fueling needs, there's only one name to remember, Jurgen C-Store in Wilmot. Another great Stills and Oil Company C-Store. Let the adventure begin.
Hi, Darren Mertens here from Milbank Ford. We have a great new inventory on hand here, so come in, check them out, take a test drive, and have Chuck work out a great deal for you for some new transportation. We also have a lot of very nice pre-owned units. If you are in the need of service, call in and talk to Gene, Ryan, and they will take care of all your maintenance and repair needs. 605-432-4525 or milbankford.net. Milbank Ford, West Highway 12 in Milbank.
And last chance time here for Dakota Valley, top of the 7th inning.
Just a reminder, following the completion of this game, the championship game will start approximately 30 minutes after the conclusion of this game.
Again, there you have it from public address announcer Brady Femling here. The next game will start about approximately 30 minutes after this one.
Number 19, Ethan Seaton.
That'll bring up Ethan Seaton now. And here's the Carter Summer pitch. That is fisted into right field. James Deckert gets under it and makes the catch. So Seaton flies out to right field.
Number 22, Grady Ramos.
That'll bring up Grady Ramos. 1-0 Parkston. And that'll bring up Grady Ramos, who did not give up a hit on the mound this afternoon. Parkston scratched their run across way back in the 2nd inning. And here's the 1-0 pitch. That is fouled back to the netting behind home plate. 1 ball and 1 strike to Grady Ramos. And here's the pitch. That's high on the Summer fastball. 2 balls and 1 strike. Here comes the pitch from Summer. That is outside. 3 balls and a strike. And here comes the 3-1. Now there's a grounder sharply in foul territory. Down the line to fill up the count. To Ramos. And the payoff pitch, here it is. It's a swing and a miss. Strikeout number 9 by Carter Summer.
Now batting the second baseman, number 16, Noah Graham.
So now Dakota Valley down to their last out here with Noah Graham. He's popped up to first and was hit by a pitch twice. So the pitch from Summer, that is at the knees for a strike. Boy, what a nice pitcher's duel this turned out to be here on Championship Tuesday. Here's the 0-1. There's a shot into right field, opposite field single for Noah Graham. And that is their 3rd hit, I believe, recorded here this afternoon. So 105 pitches, so Carter Summer will leave the game as the pitcher, but what an outstanding performance this afternoon by Carter Summer, and another great performance as well by Grady Ramos, who threw actually a no-hitter here this afternoon for Dakota Valley. Anyway, it's Parkston 1, Dakota Valley nothing. We'll catch up with the changes coming up here in a minute on KMSD.
Step up to the plate with farm equipment you can count on. From Harry Implement in Bernie, your hometown Case IH and Massey Ferguson dealer, delivering a lineup of tractors, combines, and hay equipment that hits it out of the park. Need parts? Service? We're in your corner. Family owned since 1935. Harry Implement is built on hard work and rooted in the land, just like America's has done. Harry Implement in Bernie. Sales, service, and parts that cover all the bases. Harry Implement, proud to support the Groton Legion Post 39 baseball team at the state tournament.
Here's where the good ideas come from. Street Graphics, Main Street, Milbank, working with local schools to provide ideas and solutions for fundraising. They can customize a design just for you. T-shirts, trophies, banners, buttons, contract printing, they do it all. They work in quantities from 1 to 5,000. Printing and promotions, they print on anything but paper. See them at streetgraphics.com. That's graphics with an EX. Main Street, Milbank, South Dakota, streetgraphics.com.
And pitching now is Coulter Kramer. Going to short is the pitcher Summer. And we're going to try to find out who's out here in center field for Parkston. Anyway, Dakota Valley down to their last out here as Jack Weesey is going to come up to the plate now against relief pitcher Coulter Kramer. And again, the winner of this one gets Del Rapids here in the championship approximately a half hour after this game.
Now batting the catcher, number 84, Jack Weesey.
Jack Weesey is walked, and he's popped out to second here this afternoon. So Coulter Kramer going to try to pick up the third and winning out here for Parkston as Noah Graham is at first base representing the tying run right now. And there is a hit into left field in the air in foul territory. The left fielder does a circus catch down there, Jax Kurtenbach, and he hung on to the ball. Oh, what an athletic play and a catch out there in left field.
Parkston advances to the championship with a 1-0 win over Dakota Valley.
And Parkston goes to the championship game against Del Rapids. Congrats on a great season to Dakota Valley. And we will, actually, we're just going to say that Parkston wins here 1-0, and we're just going to send it back to the studios. But now, again, it's not going to be quite an hour. It's going to be probably a half hour, give or take. So we'll be back on the air with the championship game here in, let's say, around a half hour. So we're going to send it back to the studios now. Parkston wins here 1-0 over Dakota Valley to go into the championship against Del Rapids. More State Legion coming up later, but right now, Jeff, back to you at KMSD.